guys, welcome to Project Fandom Premium. I'm your host, Nina.
And I'm Kaylee.
And we're back to start a whole new K-drama. So I just finished recording on my own Beyond Evil, which was excellent. I loved it. And if you are a time travel subscriber, the season finale podcast for that show is up for our premium subscribers, and you guys are getting early access to me and Kaylee talk about our first K-drama together, right? Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, what was our first... Well, we technically don't have a first anime, right? Because we've never finished one.
Together.
Yeah, we've never finished one together, have we?
I mean, I guess you can technically count My Hero because we're almost caught up. We're just only like 2 or 3 episodes behind of My Hero Academia.
Oh, that's right. Like, you mean like with everybody else. And then technically we could count Attack on Titan, too. In a few weeks, anyway.
Yeah.
Ajin, no, because we still have to finish the...
Second thing, we finished. Did we finish season 1?
We never... No. We didn't, because we were watching it, and Nico was really being a dick.
Yeah, we didn't stop.
Our dog was...
stopped in the middle of an episode.
Yeah, we stopped in the middle of the season 1 finale.
Dang.
Because Nico was being terrible. So, and we just never went back, because we started doing this. Like, we started doing this full time. So we've been sticking to this schedule. So yeah, this is our first K-drama together. We've watched Korean movies together, right? Like, we watched
Parasite and
The Witch.
Yeah.
The Host.
God, that was a good one.
Oh my god, I really can't wait for the second one. The Host.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Train to
Busan, that's right. So, but this is our first K-drama together. I'm currently watching Goblin. You're kind of watching it. You're just taking forever to sit your ass down and watch the second episode. I'm on episode 6. But yeah, so this is our first one. And we started this before, right?
Yeah, like months ago, yeah.
Right. Sometime last year, and then the world fell apart. So we're back.
Oh my god, was it really that long ago?
Yeah, it was a really long time
I thought
ago.
it was at least this year that we started.
No, Kaylee, what's wrong with you?
I don't know. Time is going by way too fast.
So Signal is a Korean drama from 2016. It stars Lee Jae-hoon as Park Hae-young, who is the male lead protagonist, and Kim Hye-soo, yes, as Cha Soo-hyun. Oh, and also Chu Jin-won as Lee Jae-han. He's a major character too, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay. And so those are our 3 leads, and yeah, if you want to join along and discuss the episodes with us, we're recording 2 episodes at a time until we get to the season finale, which is the series finale, because like most K-dramas, this is just like one and done, like a limited series, except when we get there and then we do the season or series finale on its own. It gets its own podcast. So and these podcasts will be going up every Friday, and it's available on Netflix. It is also on the Viki app, if you have that. But we're watching it via Netflix. All right. So I'm assuming you guys have listening. It's always weird starting a new show because I don't know if I need to do like a deep synopsis, but let's just go episode by episode. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, we were going to do that anyway, but I mean, we'll just talk about what the show is about as we talk about the episodes as well. All right. So the first episode, which, they actually have titles, which
They do?
Yeah, like they're not on Netflix, but I
was going to say they're just numbered on Netflix.
Where did I see? Hold on a second. I saw titles. Was it IMDb? Because it was the same thing with Beyond Evil. They didn't have titles on Netflix, but then when I went to IMDb for photos, Um, the episodes had names. I think it's the same thing. Okay. So, episode 1 is called You're Doomed, and episode 2 is We Still Have a Chance. Okay. So, in the first episode, oh, and I should say we did start this, like I said, last year, and we only watched and talked about the first episode. Mm-hmm. Right. And so we rewatched the episodes today. So we are, we're not relying on like old information. All right. So the synopsis for episode 1, 2 cops try to bring justice to a 15-year-old cold case. So do you remember when I watched this? Like, I watched this first without you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. But it was like, because it's rare for the kidnapper, the murder, like the person who abducts a child to be a woman. Mm-hmm. And it's even rarer that it's just for purposes. Like, if it's usually it's like, oh, they can't have children, or do you know what I mean? Something you get, but it never is it just, oh no, I'm just evil and I need money, or very rarely. So, yeah, so this opening is what just made me be like, oh, Kaylee has to see this. But this poor girl, how do I know? Oh, I was going to say, how do I not know her name? Kim Yoo Jung. Yeah. Yoon Jung. She is, this is back in 2000, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. July 29, 2000. And she's in school with our lead in the present day, who's now an adult, of course. And she's like, he's lonely, it looks like he doesn't have like a lot of friends, like all the other kids are playing together. And she's also kind of, no, she was talking to other kids.
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't? There wasn't like a part where she was on the playground talking and like looked over and smiled? No?
I don't think so, no.
After
she was sitting by herself on the set of stairs.
Okay. Well, either way, she was nice to him and he was a little asshole. Oh, this burned me up. Especially like at the end when it's like after school and it's raining and he has an umbrella and she doesn't, and she's just standing there and he just walks away and leaves her for that evil woman. Also, like, who was she waiting for?
Who?
The girl.
The little girl?
Yeah.
She didn't have an umbrella, so I think she was just waiting for the rain to stop.
Oh, gotcha. So she could, okay. Like, it wasn't like she was waiting for somebody to pick her up.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, in 2015, it is July 27th, and the statute of limitations is going to run out in 3 days. So 15 years.
I heard that hard T pronunciation in statute.
Did you hear all? Did you hear all 3 T's, or did you just hear 2? So when I was taking notes for this, because we watched the second episode today, we watched the first one yesterday. So I was taking notes yesterday. I giggled at this point because they put the words up on the screen, statute of limitation in 3 days, whatever. And I started to write that. And I laughed because I remembered when we covered this before that you didn't know that it was statute of limitations. You thought it was statue.
Well, they don't. I mean, like, every time I've heard it been said, they don't even pronounce that third T. And sure? I've never heard the word statute. Like, I've never heard that in anything else.
Yeah, I will say that it is not a word. Like, anytime you hear it, it's in this phrase. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I feel like, unless you're a lawyer and it's used in other phrases and matter, but I've never heard it used in any other manner. But yeah, so it's 3 days from when it's going to run out. And the little boy that ignored her is now grown up, and he's a cop who basically, like, because he's bored with his job, I guess, and he doesn't take it seriously, and we know why later. He's like selling information to the tabloids. Or he doesn't even sell it, because that's
he said he did it
for fun. Yeah. And Soo Hyung catches him and busts him for it because her and her partner, who I think his name is Kiechul, but her and her partner were asked to look into this, like, I guess, like how the press was getting information on one of their famous clients. And when they bring Hae Young back to the precinct to, whatever his punishment was supposed to be, he brings up that K. Chol only was doing this as a favor to the manager of one of the like celebrities or something like that. So basically it's like also misuse of power, like you're doing a favor for somebody. And then so this is like, it's so weird because it skips a lot this first episode, but back in the past 15 years ago, it's 5 days after, right? She was killed, the little girl. And there's a detective who picks up a piece of paper that Hae-yeon left when he was a little boy. Like, he went to the precinct to tell them, no, it wasn't a man, because they had a suspect, right? Oh, yeah, that's right. They were looking for that guy already.
Her boyfriend.
Yeah. And yeah, so he went to the police to say, no, a woman picked her up. I saw her. She had red shoes and all this stuff. And the police were busy and they weren't listening to him. And he ends up like dropping the piece of paper and the detective picks it up. And then we find out that he and Soo Hyun have some sort of past romantic relationship.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's never stated.
And he's the one, like, when they're, like, the cops are discussing, like, the information that they have and why they think it's this one particular guy, he's the one that says, I think we should be looking for the girlfriend. He clearly has one, and she could be an accomplice, because all of his credit cards, he had, like, he was buying expensive clothes and stuff like that for a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And the cops dismissed it. Like, his boss dismissed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then tells him, now this is so suspicious because in retrospect, he's the one that tells Jaehan to go look into the thing alone. Right? Because
they
knew about, I thought, where did the boyfriend work?
I don't remember if they even ever told us.
Did he? I feel like, okay, we know that Jaehan finds a piece of paper on the computer monitor that has, I think, that date, right? Like August 3rd, and the name,
the day,
right, and the mental hospital, right? But I feel like in the police briefing, the name of that hospital came up then too. Because, okay, no, maybe not. But what does he tell him to look into alone? He tells him to look into the girlfriend. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah, he's like saying, if you think it's so important, just do it yourself.
You do it yourself. That's right. Okay. He didn't tell him to. He goes to the mental hospital because he finds the paper.
Nico just ate paper.
Oh. Okay. So back in 2000, while Jaehan goes to the mental hospital at night, of course, which is like now abandoned, Hae-hyun in present day he goes to leave the police station and he finds that his car is, his bike or whatever, his car is blocked in. Okay, there's one important thing that I didn't say that we need to talk about that I didn't put in my notes. But we have talked about the fact that I kind of glossed over this. So she was kidnapped. She was missing for like a short time. And then her body was found, right? And they suspect this, I think it was like an ex-student who was in debt and all this stuff. And they, the kidnappers had asked for a $50 million won ransom, which was paid, right? And they think that like all of this time that the guy got the money and left. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just been, they've been looking for him, right? And there was one other thing that they found. Okay, so for 15 years, though, the girl's mother has been standing outside the police station holding a sign asking them to find her daughter's killer. And so, Hae-yeon, this whole time, knowing that a woman took her, but the police thinking it was this guy, he would go to the police station and not go in. But then over time, he became a cop. So you and I were saying for 15 fucking years, he watched this woman stand outside the police station and never once thought to go up to her and be like, 남자입니다. 여자예요. Like never once. He just let her stand out there. But there's two things. Like one, we find out like they show us like flashbacks of him having like a fear of cops and something bad happening, right? Mm-hmm. And then he talks about cops not listening. Like, and like, you know, they didn't listen to him when he went there to try to tell them about the woman. And just like they hadn't listened before. And then we find out in the second episode that his brother was arrested for, I'm presuming convicted for killing a girl and went to prison, but he eventually died, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, at first you're like, oh, he just didn't trust the cops, right? But then later he tells Sue, he tells her that he did eventually go, and they just never did anything. I'm like, okay. What are you doing?
I was on mute because I'm about to give Nico a little bone to distract him because he keeps biting at me.
Told you he's a menace.
I had to get up and get it. Yeah, he won't stop scratching at me and biting at my hands.
Okay, so at this point in the present day, and I say present day, I mean 2015.
Yeah.
Okay.
15 years later.
Mm-hmm. Hae-yeon finds this walkie-talkie like in the back of like the truck that blocked him in has like evidence bags and stuff like that in the back, and there's this walkie-talkie in there, and he gets you know, somebody's calling on it, and he picks it up, and the person asks for him. How does he have his name again? How does Jaehan in the year 2000 have Hae-yeon's name?
I'm assuming it's because after watching the second episode, we know this is the first time he's communicated with him.
No. I'm sorry. I know now. Because his name was on the note. The note that said it's a woman, not a man.
Yeah. But he also knew his name already because they communicated over radio before, for him at least.
Wait a second. Yeah, because we find out in episode 2 that they spoke in the 80s. Uh-huh. I'm way too high for this. Wow. I should not be podcasting time travel shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a complex story.
Hey, that's just elder abuse. Don't talk to me like that. I know it's complex. Hush.
I mean, it has nothing to do with your age. It's because you're high.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got it. All right. So he's like, yeah, I found your note. And of course, Hae-yeon doesn't know what he's talking about, right? So something just occurred to me. All right, so I'm just going to wrap up this scene. So back in 2000, Jaehan is at that abandoned mental hospital, which I would have not gone in there without backup and at night. All of this is like, this could have waited till the morning. But he finds a body in the grate. And remember, he like fly in the ground, and he like flashes his flashlight down, and he calls it in, right? Mm-hmm. And Oh, is that where it comes in? Yeah, he doesn't even get to call it in because he ends up talking straight to Haeyeon, right? But he's like, it's a male, da 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 da. It's missing a thumb. It's wearing this many clothes. And we were like, how do you see all of that? He had so much detail.
Almost like he put the body.
Right. Like, what the hell? Okay. So in the present day, Haeyeon hearing that over the radio, because, he told him where he was and, the grate in the back, and this is what I found. So he's like, oh, this is stupid. And then he ends up going. And then he keeps going. And you and I, now at this point, that mental hospital is now way spookier because
it's been 15 years.
Yes. There's so many bodies in this place at this point. Because apparently nobody knows this place is here except murderers. But anyway. So Haeyeon goes and he goes in the back and he looks in one grate and there's nothing there. And he's like, "Ah, I'm stupid. I'm going home." But then he sees the other grate and he's like, "Damn it!
I'm already here. I gotta check this one."
Nah, no you don't. You did too much. You went beyond going to check one. It is totally acceptable for you to leave. But he doesn't, and he finds a body. All right, so before I move on, I want to ask you because it's all time travel, we're going to find out how that paper got on his monitor, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
And we're going to find out why somebody, like, he was parked in, like he was blocked in.
Like where that truck was there, yeah.
Because that's just like a hell of a coincidence. Unless it, Okay. So, in the present day, for some reason, I mean, I understand why. But like the way he went about it. Because he heard Jaehan say that the dead body was the kidnapper, right? He asked her to see if that the bones that he found could be the kidnapper. And I was like, that's just going to be really weird. Like, why would you think it's him? Like, how are you going to explain that? But now I'm wondering if it's because he could say because it's missing a thumb, right? Okay. So, but when she goes to the morgue, the coroner is immediately like, "Oh, this isn't who you're looking for. This body is too young." Like that. And so then that tells you that Jaehan has been missing this whole time, like from whatever happened to him at the mental hospital, right? Okay. So then he challenges her. Haeyeon challenges her to when it's found out that it is the kidnapper, the boss takes them off the case, right? And then he challenges her to do the right thing. And this is where he tells her, he knew it was a woman. He came and told them all this time that it was a woman and they did nothing about it. And she says, "I'll do something about it." But I guess he doesn't believe her because then he just goes and does it himself. He goes in front of the press and he tells them everything. Right while the one, what was it? Who is it? Like the chief or whatever, he was going to go talk to the girl's mother. Because they want it to be a suicide. So it could just be, yeah, he killed her and then he killed himself. Instead of, no, we fucked it up and somebody's been living for 15 years. When he gets in trouble, because obviously he gets yelled at for what he did, but she vouches for him, and that's where he turns into Sherlock, and he starts piecing together like the profile of this woman and what she was like back then and why she did it and like what she would be like now. And the whole time he's doing that, K Chol is across the room looking like, what is this, police work? We do that here?
That's like what I signed up for.
It's like, holy shit, this is making sense. And then when the phone rang, it's like, oh, I'm just going to talk to this ramen container. So, yeah, so he's like, she's going to call, like, you know, and if it's not her, like someone who's worked with her, like the information I put out there is enough to get people thinking, you know, and he's like, give it like an hour. And sure enough, people start calling, and we see the killer at the hospital she works at now. Getting ready to set somebody up. Which she does. And so they have like this thing where they're like trying to follow up on all the leads. And one of them was, what was it? Somebody being petty. What was that? Like a coworker or something?
How the nurse didn't like their coworker.
Yeah. And she admitted it too. She was like,
I just didn't like her.
Yeah, she didn't even work at that hospital. But Hae-young figures out the truth because, see, now when we watched it last time, I don't know if I really picked up on this, but when we watched it yesterday, she would have gotten away with it if she did not call it in. Because they were not looking at her at all. They knew nothing about her. Like, they knew nothing about the girl she was setting up. Like nobody was going to call. And for some reason, she just, because she's a psychopath, clearly. But, like, she calls it in and she sets up her coworker. But they figure out that it's actually the woman that called it in. And that's the other thing, she messed up because she tried to make it seem like she was suspicious because she just left work for no reason early. But then when they caught the girl and brought her in, she was like, no, she gave me permission to go. It's like, you dummy. So they catch her in the streets.
I think they mentioned, I think it was because, like, the reason she did it is, like, he even mentioned it himself that she's gonna act different, act desperately, because he lied and said they have irrefutable evidence. So I think that's kind of why she did it.
So it threw her off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right, because when she is questioning her in the next episode, and she says, why, she goes, I wanted to see how far you were. Or what you had. Yeah, she wanted to know what they had. Which is why they were able to then, in the next episode, which we're going to talk about, they were able to make her doubt that they had something. Like, which they did, though. It's just they didn't know for sure, which is the blood on his glasses. So the boyfriend that she set up, the bones, the body they found, they were swabbing all of his stuff, obviously, for evidence. And they found blood on the glasses. And they were like trying to, well, first they had to get her to admit that she lied about the lockers and that the locker that she said was the killer's was hers. And once she did that, that allowed them to use her DNA in that locker to test against the blood on the glasses. So that's another place she fucked up. And so she did it because she wanted to know what they had, but they didn't have shit. You dummy. Oh my God. I like this when it starts, K. Charles, because it's like they have what, like 20 minutes, 10 minutes at this point. K. Charles is like, let's just beat her ass. And he was like, we can't do that anymore. And he's like, how dare you say that to me? I was like, why are you offended that you can't beat women? Why is that an insult to you? What is that noise?
What noise? It might be something from outside.
Oh. So, Oh, so the she goes down. So, oh, she leaves, right? Because she's like, oh, can I go now? Because they thought they had her like 2 different times. What is that noise? You don't hear that?
No.
Are you moving?
No. I swallowed.
Oh. Stop swallowing.
I produce a lot of saliva. That's what my dentist told me once.
Oh, but it's like it's almost like you were scratching the mic. It was weird.
It might be. Oh, is it that?
No, it sounded more like brushy. Like
I'm not like. I don't know. It might be hitting my shoulder.
That was it.
Yeah, it hit my shoulder.
Stop it.
Sorry.
Okay. So don't worry, I'm cutting all that out. I edit the fuck out of this podcast. All right. So they make her think that they have her like a couple of times, and they don't. And then she calls their bluff, and so she leaves, and she's just slow walking down the goddamn hallway. That's another thing. If she had just left.
I mean, like, she was like walking at a normal pace. She
No.
wasn't running.
No.
Slowly walking.
She was walking like Jessica Rabbit. It was sultry. It was way too slow. I'd have been running. I'd have gotten my fucking car and I would have gone to Busan or some other city and I'd have laid low and then she'd have been fine because that other statute of limitations would have ran out. Yeah. And so that's what they end up getting her on. They were testing all of his belongings that they found with his body, and there was the parking ticket that they had to get to go into the mental hospital. Cause he was like, you got to turn yourself in, and she was like, first I got to go to my job and quit and get my. No, you don't. You just got to go to the cops and be like, there's a dead girl in my boyfriend's bed. He let her convince him. It was just so silly. But yeah, the parking ticket shows the time that they went in there, and it was like after midnight, so it was technically a new day, I guess. And that's what she's arrested for. And this whole thing sets off this debate about statute of limitations. Is it fair? Why are they in place? And then there's also a debate about whether or not it makes any sense to look into cold cases, like resources. Like there's these two guys debating on the news, and one guy was like, but what if by taking resources to investigate cold cases, we're letting new crimes happen and creating future cold cases? And I was like, what? It's like, Jesus, that was stupid. Anyway, how could I skip over the part where that dead girl's mother wanted to whip her ass when she found out that she was only going to jail for killing that man. She was like, well, I'll do it then. I'd have let her go, though. I'd let mom get a lick in her, too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, why do you think his brother's, like, memorial is on a tree?
In the forest? I got no idea. I wonder if there's any history, like, not behind the tree, but just the place in the woods.
You know, it's not... Well, I don't know how it is, like, now. And I think it still may be that way. But it's something about either the elevation and just the land, like the land, how can I say it? I think it might just be the amount of land available in Korea, that they don't do ground burials. It's more common to be cremated. And when I was watching, and Beyond Evil, there's a scene where a character is being cremated, and there's the cast, the people mourning her, are standing. It looks like when you're just like, in a lobby of a really nice building waiting for the elevator. You know what I mean? Like just strangers standing there looking up at you're looking up at the thing to see where the elevator is. It's like that. But they're looking up at this display and it's telling them who is about to be cremated. And it happens like in front of them. They show the thing going to the lights and it like counts down, and there's like a display, like when you get your ticket at the pharmacy, like the little red lights, like that type of thing, telling them that it's, cremation and when it's done. And then there are you remember when we watched Parasite? I won't say the character. Yeah. But do you remember when they go to where that character is laid to rest? It's like a room, and it's like a big wall, like a trophy case, like almost. And the ashes are there, so you're at rest with like a bunch of other people. And I think it might be because of, again, the land space. So, anyway, but so yeah, I don't know why though his brother would be. I don't know. Do you think he died in prison? And that's like
I think so.
Like, I wonder then if you're like a prisoner when you die, I'm sure they cremate you. Then, you know what Potter's Field is?
No.
Potter's Field in New York. It's a place where they bury like, if you have if you find a body and no one ever claims it and it can't be identified, just like unidentified people, I think. But I'm not sure about like prisoners. I guess if a prisoner dies in prison, the family has rights. I don't think the prison can just, do what they want with the body. Anyway, so yeah, I wonder if it's something like that. Like if he died in prison. Anyway, where were we? Oh, so their punishment is first of all, they rescind statute of limitations. So they no longer exist for rape, murder, kidnapping, and it extends back to, I think, 2000, right? Oh, no. Beyond that. Prior to 2000. Like, I don't think there's a limit because we find out later the first case that they give them to work on is from the 80s. Okay. So anyway, as punishment, this cold case squad is formed, and it is Sue and Hae-yeon and Kye-chol, unfortunately, and the CSI guy, but I don't remember his name.
The guy with like the beard. Little stubble. And when he popped up, we were like, "Who's this guy?
Yes.
What did he do?"
He was the guy fucking processing that parking ticket.
Which I guess is nice, but like, we barely saw your face.
He wore a mask the whole time he was in the lab. But anyway, but we know, the audience knows that this is just bullshit. They're doing this because they want to be seen as caring about, justice for these families who otherwise, they were like, we can't get justice because of stupid statute of limitations, right? But at the same time, they don't really want this to work because it's like, it's questioning your own work, It's like, why? So the boss is like, this is bullshit. We're going to do this little thing, give them busy work, and then the public will forget about it, and then we'll just go back to doing whatever the fuck we do. So this is seen as punishment that they not only do this, but they get this hard case that's like the longest unsolved mystery in the whole of the country or something like that, right? So, did they kill Jaehan?
The police guys?
Yes.
I think so. Or at the very least, they know what happened to him and covered it up.
Yeah, because when he's telling him about, this is bullshit, do it for a few months, he mentions Jaehan's name.
Yeah.
like afterwards, and I don't remember like the context, but you and I were like, what the fuck? Um, and then Sue goes to the killer in prison and asks if she ever met Jahan, and she was like, "Girl, no." She was like, if I had seen him, if he'd come back to me and talked to me 15 years ago, my ass would have been caught then. Are you dumb?" And then she left. She's just like, "I don't want to talk to you no more." You
And you
know,
pointed out based on the look on her face, she wanted to beat her up so badly.
oh my God. She, from the moment she fucking got the best of her in that interrogation room, Subin wanted to beat that ass. So then Haeyeon speaks to Jahan again, right? And this time he is, Haeyeon was on his roof, right, of his apartment building. And
Yeah.
what time is it when it always happens? It's at night. It's like,
Around like 11:30ish, I think.
mm-hmm. And he contacts Jahan contacts Haeyeon, and he's wounded. He's in the woods. It looks like he's been shot a couple of times.
Yeah.
And he tells him to when the story repeats, or when the message repeats, it starts over. And he goes, and it will soon. You have to persuade me in 1989. And then it's like you think you hear gunshots, and then it goes, the connection goes. So like we were talking about this too, like how many minutes do you think they get? Because it doesn't seem like they get a long time.
Yeah, it looks like it's always like a limited time.
Yeah. So this case, the serial killer case, the Kyungji serial killer from 1987, we see the first girl, and she's like on a bus. It seems like a city bus, right? Like, and I mean, I know they're in a rural area, but you know what I mean. It's like a public bus, and she gets off, and it's the woman who like steps off the bus with her, and just like, but then gets back. It's like a bus bellhop. Is that a thing in Korea?
I guess. At the very least, it was back then.
Yeah, I guess. I was like, that's kind of a cool job.
She didn't look like she was enjoying it.
I mean, I don't know if I'd do it for the rest of my life. I mean, there are worse gigs. Chat with the bus driver, read a book. Oh my God. That's not, well, no, I'd get motion sickness. Never mind. Anyway, so she's the first girl, and she's walking home like through like this farmland, and then like out of the shadow. Oh, I hate it. I hate men so much. I was saying that I found myself like blaming her, and she wasn't doing anything wrong. She's just like walking home. So really it's just men. It's just a shame that women just can't do the simplest of shit without worrying that men are going to be the fucking worst. Anyway, but we find out that that murder is the first of 10 over a 3-year period, right? Yeah. In the present day, Sue goes to Jahan's dad's shop, and it's clear, like, for the past 15 fucking years, she's been visiting this man and still have a really close relationship with him. Because they clearly were dating. You're like, oh, we don't know. They were dating.
I mean, it's either that or they were like going to eventually. They seemed very awkward around each other.
Because we do, like, I got so into this, I'm looking, like, my notes are almost done. Because I really got into the end of this episode. So, but thankfully, because I was so into it, I remember it. But yeah, back in the 80s, so like he tells him to persuade him in 89, but back in 87, Jahan was a creeper kind of, because he liked this girl clearly and was following her when she would come home from school or work or whatever. Like walking behind her, the railroad tracks, and when she stops, he ducks into the shadows, and I'm like, dude. But it turns out like she knows that it's him, and even to the point where I think it's her mom is like mentions that he's a cop. And then when he gets caught outside the door, he's like, "Oh, my friend used to live here." It's like, just introduce yourself. That's kind of weird, but It's through that. The next time that he communicates with Hae Hyun, it's when he calls him, and Jaehyun is in the woods. They're doing a search for the seventh girl. I think you said it was. Was it the seventh?
The seventh one, the one that was found in the field.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's the
yes.
one.
He is in the search party for that, and then so when he answers the walkie-talkie, that's what he tells Haehyun. He's like, "Yeah, this is where I am," and and he goes, "Oh, you mean every cop knows that case because she was the seventh victim and she was found there, and the eighth victim was found here, and the ninth." And Jaehyun is like, "Are you high? Like, what are you talking about?"
Eighth victim,
Right?
ninth victim.
Right? It's like, I'm like, I would have been like, "Is this a confession?" Like, um. So yeah, and they find the body right where he said it would be. So he's like, "Okay, this is weird." So he starts thinking about the eighth body, and it just so happens to have been found along the same railroad tracks, and it seems the stop, right, the station, where the girl he likes walks. And so we see her. She was the eighth victim, but because he had that information from the future, he was there, and she isn't dead when he finds her body. And because she's not dead, everything in the present changes, and that includes the photo of her corpse that Haehyun is looking at, and like something about the case that Sue is holding.
And I remember when we were watching this, I was like, right before this happened, I was
Yep.
like trying to say that like it'd be cool if this happened.
Yeah, she
I
was
was like,
like, "You know what would be really cool if and he like pointed at the screen, and then he's looking at the photo, and the photo starts glitching, and you're like, "That's what I was gonna
I'm so mad that I couldn't get the words out before it happened. But yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It'd be cool if he somehow prevents her death, and because she never died, the pictures change like as he's looking at him.
Now, what I wonder is then all of that record changes. Oh, wait a second. That explains it. Oh, I didn't get that. Now I get it. So, because I was like, well, that's going to change like everybody's thinking, like the world. You get it? Like her parents never lost their daughter. Like everything changed. We don't know what her life was like, but it only affects, like it doesn't affect, he still remembers, but Sue doesn't. Do you get it? Because remember, she was looking at something,
Oh,
and
that's right. She didn't see it change.
right, and it fell, and she picked it up, and it's not like as she was reading it, she didn't react like, why are there this number of victims? Or, you know what I mean? Something changed, and she didn't notice it. And I wondered if, but like you said, is it just because she didn't see it change the way he did, or is it possible that it's only him?
Because he is the
He's
only one who's like communicating
right. So
during the
only
thing.
he's going to remember that she used to be dead. And that's going to make it really fucking hard for him to do what I want, or for her to believe if he does what I want him to do, which is I want him to mention this guy's name,
Oh
Jaehan's
yeah,
name, to
because
her.
they're both looking for him to kind of.
Right. And I'm like, I want this reunion already, because they're adorable, especially when we see how they met.
So I was gonna say like this just occurred to me now. Since she didn't die,
Mm-hmm.
she's probably still alive if she didn't die somewhat
Mm-hmm.
later down the line.
Right.
But like if she's still alive, do you think they would like try to find her and like question her, and that'll get them a lead on the case, and like that's how they end up solving it?
Because that's new information that they didn't
Yeah.
have before.
hmm
Like the fact that she survived this attack.
hmm
Yeah, that has to be it. You're smart.
I
Oh
know.
my God.
And we didn't even talk about the thing that I pointed out to you, and you said you wouldn't have caught it.
Mm.
You said you wrote that on your notes too, right?
No, wait, hold on a second. Wait, let me look at well my notes stop here. Hold on. Oh. Okay. This is what I have written. I think this might be what you're talking about, but I'm also really high, so I'm not sure. Lieutenant. Oh, yes, that he's a lieutenant now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes. So when's the last time they speak in this episode?
Uh,
Because it's the first time for Jaehan, but I don't remember the circumstances.
when he's like telling him where the body is, the seventh body. That's the first time Jaehan talks to him.
Wait, is it?
Yes.
Okay. And okay, yes, because you pointed out what?
I pointed out. What's the main character's name again?
Hold on, let me make sure I heard it.
Starts with
Hey, Young.
Hey Yon. When he's talking to him, he introduces himself as Lieutenant.
Yes.
Because that's like his position now in this cold case little team that they have.
Right.
But the last time they talked, he was not a lieutenant, but Jaehan referred to him as lieutenant, and he
Yes,
called
that's
it
right.
his name. And I was like, and I was like questioning to myself, like, why is he calling him lieutenant? He's not a lieutenant, right? Like, unless I miss something.
Right,
And
right.
then it's like revealed later, like, oh, so I'm like, oh, that's how he,
Yes,
that's why
that
he
was the
called him
first
lieutenant.
conversation. Yes, absolutely. You're so smart. I'm so proud that you're smart. Anyway, that's a true Leo. I'm taking credit for your intelligence. um yeah, so that's how it ends, right? Just with him discovering her body, and she opens her eyes, and then the reveal that it changed then.
It changed to attempted murder.
Right. Of I forgot her name. Shit. I'm sure it'll be said a lot in the next episode.
Yeah.
I'll write it down. Yeah, I don't think we have. I'm gonna double check. I'm pretty sure we don't have feedback yet, which is to be expected again in the beginning. Nope. We don't have any for this one. We got to do Attack on Titan tomorrow. Hello.
I heard you.
Okay. Excuse me. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. You got anything else? Did I miss anything? I feel like there was something I missed. Hold on a second. Oh man, there was something. Oh, never mind. It was just when Jaehan, after he found the body, they found the body where Haeyeon said that they would. He goes to the police station covering he goes in to talk to the detectives working the case, and I was like, yeah, you could tell it's the 80s because everybody was smoking, and it was just like a cloud of like nicotine and
Oh yeah.
carcinogens in the air.
That's that scene with the really short guy talking to that old couple.
Yeah, that's the really short guy's the one in charge, and the old couple, they were looking at mug shots, and I was like, this is such a weird way to do it because they had them all on video. So it's like somebody stood there and recorded flipping through mug shots
Hmm.
and then put on video.
I don't know why they didn't just let them look through the papers of themselves.
Right, I've never seen it done this way. I could, because
Seems
as
like a
I'm
lot of
watching
effort.
the screen, it's like, yeah, it's flipping through mugshots, but it looks like it's somebody turning pages of a book. I don't know. I wonder if it was like well, no, because I guess if I don't know. I can't think of a good reason, but it was the 80s, so there was.
Oh, another thing I wanted to mention,
Mm,
we talked about this as we were watching that episode when they were on the news was announcing that they were lifting statute of limitations,
mm-hmm.
and it kind of like showed like a few scenes of just people watching the news, and I was like, there was like one man, it looked like he was kind of sitting in an airport, and then, like his like hands are shaking, and I'm like, do you think it's just like showing us scenes of like criminals who have done stuff and got away with it solely because of statute of limitations?
You just see random people shit in their pants. Anyway. All right. So this was fun. We will be back next week to talk about episodes 3 and 4. I'm really excited about that. We looked at the preview, which is something we don't do for anime, but you were like, are we? And I was like, fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why does it make a difference? Why
I
is it
don't
different for anime than this?
know. I don't know. I just like going into it completely blind. It's not even like an anime thing. It's
Hmm.
just I do it for most shows. I don't watch the previews.
Yeah.
Or rather, I think I used to, but then like I was watching some reactors and they were very strict on not watching previews.
Yeah,
Like I
I
think
don't.
most reaction channels don't watch previews.
Yeah,
So I just got into a habit of doing that.
I think there's a couple that realize they don't, and they to the point where like they won't even know the name of the episode until it comes up, if it comes up on the screen. You know, like some shows don't even do that. So, but anyway, there was something you said that was really interesting. Hold on. Here for anime. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, also, it's weird to like care about that when you're streaming because most times you're just binging.
Hmm.
So like it doesn't. Who cares if you really watch the preview? Like, or most times you can just skip it real easy. You know, because it's not like you're gonna see something and be like, oh, I gotta wait a week for that. No, it's like right there. Anyway, all right. So again, this was fun. We'll be back next week, but of course, we'll be back before then with more Money Heist, more Black Summer, What If, and of course, Attack on Titan, my new favorite. So, we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.